Welcome everyone. My name is Matthew Smith and today I'm joined by Suzanne Wiltgen.
Hi, everyone.
And we are both pre-award grant administrators in the Sponsored Programs office here on campus. We are here to give you an introduction to grant budgets. We will discuss that every project has a budget and budget justification. Your budget is the financial expression of the proposal and putting those numbers down on paper. Your budget justification is the written expression of the budget where we explain the cost and calculations in your budget. Your budget ceiling may be determined by the funder. This would be listed in the guidelines either as a max amount allowed or a range. We will review this when you start the submission process. In the next slide, we'll discuss the difference in direct cost and indirect cost that can be included in your budget. So what are direct cost and indirect cost? Let's look at it another way and think of your grant like a chicken sandwich. And let's say that sandwich costs $5. What comes on the sandwich? You have a bun, the chicken, some pickles, maybe some sauce or some cheese. Each of those items has a cost, just like your project. That is what is called direct cost. We can add those costs up for each item and your chicken sandwich will probably cost around $3 to make, but you pay $5. That $5 includes what we would call indirect cost. The building you order the sandwich in, the employee that takes your order, and the equipment used to prepare your sandwich all have a cost to run. So instead of charging you 10 cents for electricity or 25 cents for the person to ring in your order, those costs are built into your sandwich. So your $3 sandwich becomes $5. It's the cost of the sandwich versus the cost of making the sandwich when you order.
The following direct cost categories are found in a typical grant budget. Not every grant-funded project will use all of these categories. As you're planning your budget, remember that direct costs should be allowed by the funder, clearly allocable to the project, and considered reasonable. Personnel costs can often make up the bulk of a grant budget. They include salaries, wages, and fringe benefits. All UCA employees funded by the grant would be included in this category, such as PIs, co-PIs, undergraduate and graduate students, additional faculty, or extra administrative help. The travel category includes all travel costs for field work, conference attendance, presentation of findings, advisory meetings, participant attendance, etc. Typical travel costs include lodging, airfare, meals or per diem, and mileage. Travel must be planned and justified in accordance with university and funder travel guidelines. The equipment category is for purchases of items or components with a per unit value of $5,000 or more and a useful life of 1 year or more. Materials and supplies can cover a large range of items necessary for completing your research or project. Supplies are tangible personal property other than equipment. This can include computing devices, lab materials, subscription services, software, participant incentives, consumable lab materials, and conference or meeting supplies. However, general office supplies are not considered in this category. Participant support costs are limited to costs associated with stipends or subsistence, travel allowances, and/or registration. These are direct costs paid to or on behalf of participants so they can be part of a training or conference. Institutional employees would not be considered participants. The other direct cost category has a number of standard subcategories. It is important to note that if another institution will be receiving a part of your grant funds to complete part of the project, their total costs will be included in a single subaward line item. The subaward recipient will have a separate detailed budget that will be part of the submission, but those details will not be a part of your overall budget. That covers the standard budget categories for direct costs. Matthew will talk more about indirect costs.
Indirect cost. What are they and why are they a part of your budget? Remember that chicken sandwich? Indirect costs include items that are associated with running the university as a whole while supporting your grant project, like administrative staff salaries in our Office of Sponsored Programs or the financial accounting offices, utilities like heat and electricity, office supplies, making copies, and etc. These costs are calculated as a percentage of the direct cost for your project. What is UCA's indirect cost rate? The rate is 32.59% of salaries and wages, not including fringe benefits, which is the rate negotiated between UCA and the federal government. For projects with little to no salary cost, the indirect cost amount would be very small or even zero. UCA is obligated to consistently apply our federally negotiated rate, meaning we will charge indirect costs to the grant unless stated differently by the funder. Funder guidelines can override the application of UCA's federally negotiated rate. These guidelines can set a different percentage or can say indirect costs are not allowed at all. This would be something we would discuss when reviewing those guidelines at the beginning of your proposal process. When you're ready to start your budget, there are several budget template examples that can be used. Many funders will have a form included in their guidelines for you to use. Or if no forms are provided, you can make your own budget in the format you prefer. If that seems a little daunting, our office does have a blank budget and budget justification template you can use and that we can walk you through when it's time. The main important item to know is that all of these forms have the same basic cost categories, and the justification will always match the categories in your budget.
So when you are ready to start working on your proposal budget, or you have a draft ready for budget review, who do you call? This slide shows our respective portfolios by college, and the next slide has our contact information. We're very happy to help at any stage of the budget planning process. Please don't hesitate to reach out to either of us with any questions. And thank you for watching our Introduction to Grant Budgets video.